A woman walked into my nail shop this morning with the kind of story that already felt violent before she even got halfway through the first sentence. For privacy reasons, I'm changing the names. My client is Ava. Her ex is Travis, and the man Travis should never have tried was Diego. Ava did not say that first line like she wanted attention. That was the first thing I noticed. She said it like somebody finally too tired to keep carrying around a secret that had already done enough damage. No dramatic entrance, no shaking hands, no tears. But she was holding herself so tight it looked uncomfortable. Even while she was looking at colors, her shoulders stayed rigid. She glanced at the polished wall and said, "I want black." I pulled out 2 shades, one softer, one harsher. She tapped the darker one and said, "No, the darker one." I didn't even need to ask why. I said, "Bad breakup?" She let out this dry little laugh that did not sound amused at all. "It stopped being a breakup a long time ago." I looked up, because that is never just regular ex-drama. While I started shaping her nails, I asked, "What did he do?" Ava looked down at her hand before she answered. "He didn't come after me every time. He came after men." I paused with the file. Not heartbreak, not grief, possession. She told me Travis was the kind of man who looked completely normal if you only met him once. Clean cut, calm voice, gym body. The kind of man people call disciplined when they do not yet realize what they are really looking at is control. According to Ava, the worst part was that he almost never had to yell. He liked speaking softly, liked smiling while he threatened people, liked making women sound dramatic and men sound confused. I asked, "Was he violent?" She swallowed once. "Not at first." Then she added, "Quieter. At first he called it protection." I kept my voice calm. "So it started with rules." She gave the smallest nod. "He did not like her clothes, did not like male coworker, did not like her staying out late, did not like bartenders smiling at her, did not like waiters talking too long, did not like any situation where another man might forget she was, in his mind, already claimed." I said, "So basically, he didn't like you being visible." That got a real smile out of her. A bitter one, but real. "Exactly." Ava said the first time she knew something was deeply wrong was after a birthday dinner. A waiter had asked if she wanted another drink. That was it. Totally normal. Travis stayed charming the whole night, paid the bill, walked her to the car, then spent the drive home describing what he would do to a man who kept staring at what belonged to him. I froze for a second. I set the brush down for half a beat. He said belonged. She nodded. That wasn't jealousy. That was possession. Ava said after that he got smarter about it. If a guy laughed with her too long, Travis remembered his face. If a male coworker texted her, Travis wanted to know why. If a man asked her out after the breakup, that was when Travis got the most dangerous. I asked, "Dangerous how?" Ava lifted her eyes to mine and said, "He liked showing up where men lived." I actually stopped filing, because that is not messy, that is calculated. According to Ava, he did not always scream, did not always throw punches. Sometimes he just parked outside a man's apartment and sat there. Sometimes he waited outside a gym. Sometimes he sent one message, just one, enough to make the point that dating her came with consequences. I asked, "And that worked?" Ava gave this flat little laugh and looked back down at her hand. Of course it worked. That answer landed exactly the way she meant it to. Most men do not hear violent ex and think romance. They think risk, trouble. Ava said the first man she tried dating after Travis was a quiet coworker named Ben. Sweet, respectful, normal. The same night Ben asked her out, Travis somehow found out and sent him an old photo of Ava asleep in bed with the message, "You don't want this problem." That made my skin crawl. Not just threatening another man, using her body like proof of ownership. Ben backed off within days. The next man never even made it to a date. Travis got to him first. After that, Ava stopped telling people she liked them at all. Not because she wanted Travis back, because she got tired of watching interest turn into fear. I asked, "Did you go to the police?" She nodded. Twice. My heart sank. I asked, "What did they tell you?" She said there was never quite enough. Not enough for charges. Not enough for real urgency. Just enough to make her start documenting everything. Messages, voicemails, license plates, screenshots, a blurry video of Travis sitting in his car outside somebody's place after midnight. I stared at her for a second. "So you had all that and they still shrugged?" Ava's laugh was empty. "Pretty much." I asked, "So what did he actually want?" Ava met my eyes then. No smile, no shrug, just a tired kind of clarity. "He didn't want me back. He just wanted nobody else to have me." A chill ran through me. That was the whole sickness. Not love, not heartbreak, control. I said, "So he wasn't trying to win you back. He was trying to block you." Ava just stared at the table like she had been waiting for someone to say it out loud. I kept working and asked, "So did any man ever not back off?" That changed her face. Not soft, not dreamy, just steadier. She lifted her chin a little and said, "Yes, his name was Diego." Now that got my full attention, because until then, this had been a story about a woman shrinking her life to avoid a dangerous man's ego. Now it was turning into something else. Ava told me she met Diego at a physical therapy clinic. She was there for a wrist injury. He was there rehabbing a shoulder after a fight camp. I asked. A fighter. She nodded. MMA. My eyes widened a little. I understood two things immediately. First, Travis had finally picked the wrong man to intimidate. Second, this story was about to stop going his way. But Ava said the first thing she noticed about Diego was not that he looked dangerous. It was that he looked calm. Really calm. The kind of man who did not need to perform toughness because he already lived inside it. Polite to everyone. Soft-spoken. Steady eyes. No swagger. No showing off. In other words, nothing like Travis. Ava said she warned him early. Very early. She told him she had an abusive ex. She told him men who got close to her usually got threatened. She told him walking away would probably be the smartest thing he could do. I asked, and what did Diego say? She looked down at her black polish choice, and when she answered, her voice had gone quieter. He asked me if I was warning him or apologizing for somebody else's behavior. That was good. That was very good, because those are not the same thing, and too many women spend years apologizing for damage they did not do. Ava said that was the first moment she really looked at him differently, not just as a man she liked, as the first man Travis might not be able to scare. Then she looked back up at me and said, 2 weeks later Travis texted me for the first time in months. I asked, what did he say? She held my gaze and said, he wrote, who's the fighter? And just like that I knew Diego had already entered Travis's line of sight. Part 2. I kept my eyes on her and asked, how did Travis find out about Diego? Ava let out a breath that sounded tired all the way through. He was outside the restaurant, she said. I went still for a second, because of course he was. He wasn't guessing. He was watching. Ava said she and Diego had only gone out twice by then. Nothing online, nothing posted, nothing public. She had been careful in that sad, practiced way women get when one man has already trained them to live small. No photos, no tags, no telling people too much. And Travis still found out. I asked, more quietly this time, did Diego know what that text meant? She nodded. Yes, because I told him everything. That caught on something in me. Women like Ava get cornered either way. Tell a man too early, and he gets nervous. Tell him too late, and he feels like he walked into something blind. Ava said she showed Diego the message, expecting the same little shift she had seen before. That pause, that retreat, that look men get when attraction starts backing away from trouble. But Diego read it and asked one thing. Does he know where you live now? My eyes lifted right to hers. Not, are you sure? Maybe he's bluffing. It's probably nothing. No. Does he know where you live now? Ava said no. She had moved after the breakup and kept the new address off everything she could. Diego nodded once. Good. That was it. No macho speech. No fake hero act. Just straight to what mattered. I asked, then what happened? Ava's fingers twisted together in her lap. He asked to see everything. The texts, the screenshots, the voicemail, the plate numbers, the blurry video, all of it. She said he sat down with her and went through every piece without flinching. And for the first time, a man did not get quieter as the story got uglier. He got sharper. Ava looked at me and said, that was the first time I didn't feel crazy explaining it. I didn't know what to say after that. Trying to soften it would have felt fake. I asked, did he want to go after Travis? She shook her head. No, he said that's exactly what Travis would want. I breathed out slowly, because yes, Travis wanted theater. Wanted another man to step into his little cage and make the whole thing feel like some twisted contest. Diego, apparently, had no interest in doing that. Instead, he asked Ava 2 questions. What patterns repeat? And what makes him think he still has access to you? I leaned in a little. That second question hit somewhere deeper. Ava said it made her feel sick, because the answer was, a lot. Without even meaning to, she had built half her life around not setting Travis off. Not posting, not dating openly, not staying anywhere too predictable, not being too visible. Her face went blank for a second when she said it, then bitter. I had already made my whole life smaller, she said, and it still wasn't enough. My throat went dry. Because that is what men like Travis do when they stay in your life too long. They make your cage feel normal. I asked. And Diego still stayed. Ava looked down. Then she said very quietly, yes, just that, yes. But the way her voice thinned on that word told me exactly how little she had expected it. She said she kept waiting for the catch, the hesitation, the soft exit. Instead, Diego stayed calm and got practical. Then Travis escalated. The messages got uglier. No more vague warning tone. Now it was, you think this guy can keep you safe? And tell your fighter boyfriend to stop looking over his shoulder. I felt my jaw tighten, because that was the point where pathetic stopped looking pathetic. I asked, did he send those straight to you? She nodded, and one to Diego. That got my full attention. What did Diego do? Ava looked up at me. He blocked the number. Then he saved screenshots. Good. Not because blocking solved anything, because he was documenting instead of puffing himself up. Ava said that was when the difference between the two men finally became impossible to miss. Travis needed to feel big. Diego didn't. One wanted fear. The other refused to feed it. One wanted a scene. The other wanted facts. I asked, did Travis ever come near him in person? Ava nodded slowly. Yes. Her whole body went still when she said it. Too still. I lowered my voice. Where? Outside the gym. Ava said it happened on a Thursday night. She had gone to pick Diego up after training.
When she pulled into the lot, Travis was already there, leaning against his car like he had all the time in the world. No yelling, no waving, just waiting. And Ava said the thing that turned her stomach most wasn't even that he was there. It was that he was smiling. Not wide, not friendly. Just that small, ugly smile of a man who thought he had gotten there first. That made my skin crawl. Ava said the second she saw him, her hands locked on the steering wheel, her breath caught, her chest went tight. For 1 second she couldn't move at all. And the worst part was not panic, it was recognition. Her body knew the script before her mind caught up. She stared straight ahead and said, "Not again." That was the first thing in my head. That one hurt. Because there is something especially cruel about finally starting to breathe easier, and then seeing the same fear parked right in front of you. I asked, "Did Diego see him?" She nodded. He came out of the gym, looked at Travis once, then came straight to my car. Not Travis. He came to her first. Ava said he opened the passenger door, leaned down, and asked one question. "Do you want to leave, or do you want me to handle this?" I sat a little straighter at that, because that was the right question. He did not make the decision for her. He handed choice back. Ava swallowed hard. "Of course I wanted to leave," she said. Then she stopped, her lips pressed together. She looked down at her hands again, like she could still feel the steering wheel in them. For a second, I thought that was all she was going to say, but then she took one shaky breath and looked at me. "I was scared," she said. Her voice had gone flat by then, like the fear had worn itself thin. She lifted her chin a little, so I told Diego to handle it. And after that, she didn't say anything for a second. Neither did I, because some moments do not need help, they just need room. Part 3.
I let that sit for a second. Then I asked, "What did Travis do when Diego walked up?" Ava looked down at her hands. Then she said, "He smiled. Not big, not friendly, just that same ugly little smile men like him wear when they think they still own the room." That turned my stomach, because he still thought this was his kind of scene. One man talks big, the other man talks big back. A woman gets scared in the middle, and somehow he still gets to feel powerful. But Diego did not walk into it that way. Ava said he came to her car first, like she told me. Then he turned, looked straight at Travis and said, "You need to leave." Just that. No speech, no chest puffing, no threats. Travis laughed. Of course he did. Men like that always laugh first when the script starts slipping. Then he looked around Diego and straight at Ava. "You really brought muscle?" he said. Ava's face hardened when she repeated that part. She said hearing him say it out loud did something to her. Not because it hurt, because it made him sound exactly as small as he really was. I asked, "And Diego?" Ava said Diego did not even look annoyed. He just said, "This is over. Leave." Again. Simple, cold, clean, and that was when Travis stopped acting amused. Apparently he took 2 slow steps forward like he was testing distance. Not enough to look wild, just enough to push the space, just enough to make it clear he still thought he could make both of them shift around him. Ava said her whole body locked when he did that. Her breath caught, her hands tightened on the steering wheel all over again. For a second she was right back in every other moment he had ever stolen from her. Then Travis said, "You think she told you the whole story? That old move, that old rotten little trick. When fear stops working, go for shame." Ava said she felt it hit her anyway, that flash of humiliation, that stupid familiar urge to explain herself, to clean herself up before anybody else could look at the mess. But Diego did not turn around and ask her a single question. He kept his eyes on Travis and said, "One more step." That was it. One more step. And apparently Travis smiled again and took it. Bad choice. Ava said it happened fast after that. Not movie fast, not flashy, just fast enough to kill the whole fantasy. The second Travis stepped into him, Diego caught his wrist, turned him clean, and drove him face first against the hood of the nearest car hard enough to stop him, not hurt him. No wild punches, no dragging it out. Just one short, ugly second where Travis finally found out what it felt like when somebody else controlled the space. My eyes widened. Not because it was brutal, because it wasn't. It was controlled, clean, and men who can do that, stop the danger without turning into it, are rarer than they should be. Ava said Travis swore and tried to yank free, but Diego had his arm pinned and his weight set, calm as ever. Then he said, very evenly, "You are done." No shouting, no rage, and somehow that made it better. Ava said that was the first time in years she had ever seen Travis look truly panicked. Not angry, not offended. Panicked, because suddenly he was not the scariest person in the parking lot anymore. Suddenly all that stalking, all those little threats, all that ugly confidence looked exactly like what it was. Cheap. I asked, "Did Diego let him go?" She nodded. After a couple of long seconds. That mattered, because this was never about beating him up. It was about stopping him. Ava said the second Diego let him loose, Travis stumbled back harder than he meant to, like he had been expecting the moment to go differently. Then he started talking too fast. That told her everything. Not controlled now, not smug, messy. He said this was assault, said they were both crazy, said Ava had always known how to make men act stupid. There it was, that pathetic little scramble. No control left, so now he had to throw words and hope one of them landed. But none of it landed. Not this time. Diego already had his phone out, recording, and he said, "You approached. You threatened. You were told to leave. Now step back." Ava said Travis looked at the phone, looked at Diego, then looked at her. And for the first time in a very long time, he looked unsure. That mattered more than anything. Not because she needed him terrified forever, but because she needed to see with her own eyes that he was not made of something bigger than everyone else. He was just a man, an ugly one, a mean one, a persistent one, but still just a man. I asked, "What did you do?" Ava went quiet for a second. Then she said, "I got out of the car. That caught me, because I had not expected that." She said her legs were shaking when she stood up. Her hands were cold. Her heart was beating so hard it hurt, but she got out anyway. And when Travis looked at her, waiting for the old version of her to show up, the one who backed down, the one who folded, the one who let him own the air, Ava just looked straight back at him and said, "You don't get to do this anymore." That was the line. Not polished, not pretty, just true. Ava said Travis stared at her like he genuinely did not understand the sentence, which, honestly, made perfect sense. Men like that build their whole lives around never hearing no from the people they wear down. Then Diego told him, "You don't come near her again." That landed even harder. Because Ava's line took the power back. Diego's line shut the door. Ava said that was when Travis really cracked, not in some huge dramatic way. He just lost the performance. The smile was gone. The fake calm was gone. He looked ugly in a different way then. Smaller. Ava said, Travis muttered, "This isn't over." Diego answered evenly, "For tonight it is." Then Travis got in his car and left. No tires screeching, no last speech, no final big man move. He just left. And somehow that made it even better. Because it meant he knew. He knew he had lost the moment. He knew his little theater had closed. He knew nobody in that parking lot was scared of his act anymore. I let out a breath without meaning to. Then I asked, "What happened after he left?" Ava laughed once. Not because anything was funny. Because her body did not know what else to do with all that leftover adrenaline. Then the shaking started. Her hands, her knees, her whole chest. She said Diego did not grab her right away. Did not crowd her. Did not start acting like a hero. He just asked, "Can I touch you?" She nodded. Then he put one steady hand on her shoulder and said, "He doesn't get to reach you through fear anymore." That one stayed with me. Not because it sounded pretty. Because it sounded finished. Ava said they filed the report that same night. Not next week. Not when it was convenient. That night, the old messages, the screenshots, the photo he had sent, the video from before, the parking lot recording, all of it. And according to her, that was the first time law